Hey guys, my name is James, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than some of my Let's Plays that have been going up lately. I'm going to be talking about my history with gaming. I'm going to be starting at the very beginning when I first discovered gaming and then going all the way through to 2022. Before I get started, make sure to hit the like button on this video, hit the subscribe button on my channel, and if you haven't yet, I'd love for you to check out some of my Let's Plays that have been going up lately. Most recently, I did a full playthrough of Metroid Prime, all the way to 100% completion, and the 100% completion ending is included in my video. Recently, I've been playing Metroid Prime 2, as well as just a couple days ago, I started Alan Wake on Xbox 360. Make sure to check back for those as well. Let's get started. The first gaming experience that I can really remember is some memories of my early childhood. So before I was born, my dad was into gaming. He had an NES. He never had a Super Nintendo. My earliest gaming memories are of just playing the NES. He didn't really have a ton of games. I think there were probably only like 7 or 8 of them. But it was my window into this entire world that I had never experienced before. Some of the games that I specifically remember, Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, Super Pitfall, Top Gun was one of them, Sunsoft's Batman, which was way too hard for me when I was a kid. Console-wise, I don't really remember much after the NES up until late 90s. I would have been 5 or 6 years old, and I remember one year for Christmas receiving an N64. It wasn't 1996 when the N64 first came out, because I remember that mine was a bundle that came with Super Smash Bros. And I loved Super Smash Bros. To this day, I still love Super Smash Bros. Lots of fun memories there. I specifically remember Pokemon Stadium being really fun, and I remember going over to family members' houses and playing Super Mario 64. And then this was also back in the days of Blockbuster Video. So sometimes on the weekends, we would go and rent a game for the weekend from Blockbuster Video, and I remember specifically there being this Tom and Jerry game that I enjoyed, that I rented all the time, and then I one time picked out Mario Party 3, having never played a Mario Party game, because I thought that Super Mario 64 was just Mario Party. And so I was like, well, I played that first game, and I didn't play a second game, but this one's the third game, so this has got to be pretty good too, right? I was really disappointed that it was actually just a Mario board game in a video game. It was not what I was expecting. And then later on, I did end up getting back into Mario Party, but I'll probably talk about that here in a little bit. After N64, there was a year my sister and I both, for Christmas, got Game Boy Advances. We each got a Game Boy Advance for Christmas, and it was awesome. I played that Game Boy Advance to death. I'm surprised that I don't still have it. I have no idea what happened to it. It's possible that I eventually sold it or something when I fell out of gaming in probably in high school. I sold a lot of my games and stuff. Yeah, so Game Boy Advance. That was when I first got into Pokemon and stuff, and I really only played the first couple Pokemon games. I remember playing Red and Blue, and I remember playing Gold, and I don't really remember playing any of them after that. Game Boy Advance was awesome. I loved Game Boy Advance. Moving on from that, I don't remember which came first. Well, actually, next we're going to talk about GameCube. The Nintendo GameCube was the next big console that I remember. My dad got a GameCube for my sister and I. We shared the one GameCube. With that, I have some of the most fond memories of the GameCube. Super Mario Sunshine, which is one of my favorite games of all time, as well as Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 2 and Star Wars Bounty Hunter. 3 of those I would say are good games. One of those is a very nostalgic game for me, but I really have fond memories. Also with the GameCube is when I rediscovered Mario Party with Mario Party 4. After having such a terrible experience with Mario Party 3 on the N64, I really don't know what led me to eventually get Mario Party for the GameCube. It was probably a gift or something from somebody that didn't know what Mario Party was. But I remember really enjoying Mario Party 4, and there was a time where I wanted to beat all of the courses as every character so that I could unlock all of their like party rooms and stuff. But I don't think I ever did that. So that was the GameCube. The next big one that I remember is the Wii. So both the Wii and the Nintendo DS. I don't remember which came first. I genuinely don't. I'll go with Nintendo DS first, just because I don't have as fond of memories on Nintendo DS as I do with the Wii. Nintendo DS, some cool games on there. I was kind of falling out of handheld gaming for no real reason other than just kind of losing interest, but specifically for Nintendo DS, I remember there being a Chronicles of Narnia game, which wasn't very good. There was a turn-based Age of Empires kind of a tactical game that I really liked, actually. I remember playing that one like throughout. That was probably one of the last games that I remember playing on Nintendo DS. I remember the Lego Star Wars games. I had Lego Star Wars. First Lego Star Wars, I had it on Game Boy Advance, but I played it on my DS. The Nintendo DS could play Game Boy Advance games. Lego Star Wars 2, I had both the DS version and the Game Boy Advance version, and I would play both of them on my DS, which is kind of ridiculous because they're essentially the same game. Maybe the reason that I kind of fell out of the DS generation was because I didn't play any good DS games. I did also get Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass, but I know that that was after the Wii. I want to say that was the first Zelda game after Twilight Princess. We'll go into Wii now. Nintendo Wii, that's a big one. So previously, up until the Nintendo Wii, there was always this unspoken rule that whichever parent gave you the console stays at their house. With the Wii, so it would have been 2006, I believe. So Christmas 2006, it was impossible to find a Wii. It was insane. And we know now that a lot of it was just Nintendo doing false supply constraints. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that the Nintendo Wii was really important to me for a couple reasons. One, my parents were divorced, which is how you get to the console staying at a specific parent's house thing. But the way that the stars aligned, my parents, who really generally didn't talk to each other very much, had to work together to be able to find a Nintendo Wii to be able to get one to me on Christmas morning. And I did, actually. Christmas morning, December 2006, I opened one and I got one, and my dad also got me a travel case for it, where you would wrap up all the cords and put them in there too. I felt like it was more about me having the Wii and not my parents trying to one up each other or something. But also the Nintendo Wii, my sister had kind of fallen out of video games at that point, where the GameCube and the N64 were both gifts for both of us. The Wii was mine. The Wii felt like it was mine. It was a gift for me. If I didn't ask for that Wii, it wouldn't have been bought. And then the whole carrying case thing kind of just added to that added to those same feelings of like, it's my Wii, I'll take it where I want, I'll take it to this house or that house or whatever, take it with us on vacation. Let's see, Wii games that really stand out to me, Wii Sports always stands out as being a good one. Obviously Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, which is one of my favorite games. Super Mario Galaxy was good. Super Mario Galaxy 2, which I often forget even existed. There was a game called The Conduit, which I really enjoyed. I was introduced to Call of Duty on the Wii with Call of Duty 3 and then Call of Duty Modern Warfare. What else? Not really remembering many other Wii games. And then the biggest Wii game, biggest Wii game that I remember probably was Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, which came out in 2011, so kind of close to the end of the Wii's life cycle. It required the Wii Motion Plus. I got the gold Wii Remote that had the Wii Motion Plus built in that came with the game. It was really cool. That was the first game that I ever remember pre-ordering. It was a good one. I really enjoyed it at the time. I'm not a huge fan of the motion controls now, but I still do have really fond memories of that game. Also, Skyward Sword, let's see, 2011. I would have been in 11th grade. No, I would have been in 10th grade. I had a friend at school who was also playing Skyward Sword, and I had never had another friend that had played Zelda games before. I played Ocarina of Time on the N64. I played it kind of late. I played it like way after the GameCube came out. I imagine that I had classmates and stuff that would have been playing Twilight Princess at the same time as me, but I don't. At that time, Twilight Princess, 2006, 7, 8, I would have been like in middle school. I don't remember having any other friends that played video games, really. That I didn't really talk to people about video games or really anything like about that. So, Skyward Sword's significant to me just because I remember it being one of the first like social interactions that I've had revolving around video games. I don't really remember any other big games until the Wii U. The Wii U came out in 2012, which was just the next year. But I didn't get a Wii U probably until 2014 because I was in 10th grade when Skyward Sword came out. Those next like few years, like 11th grade, 12th grade, I was distracted. I'd gotten really involved with some of my extracurricular stuff at school. It was probably like late 2013 that I felt like really when I was in college and like I kind of being around other people. I was in the engineering dorm, so I was around a lot of other people that were kind of nerdy and liked video games and stuff as well, where I was like, dang, like I have like all these games that I have like really fond memories of, like I want to like play some of those. So when I went home for Christmas break, I brought back my Nintendo Wii with me. Honestly, don't even remember playing it very much in college. Later on, we get to the Wii U, which once again, I don't remember really wanting a Wii U, but yeah, I don't remember really wanting a Wii U, but I think it was kind of a situation of I don't know what to ask for Christmas, so I'm gonna ask for a Wii U, and then my dad got me one. I don't think they were particularly hard to find or anything. They weren't selling very well. I got the Wii U that came with Super Mario 3D World, that the box was decorated like cats. I also still have that box, and I still have that Wii U. moving forward a little bit, other Wii U games, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. I had some friends in college that were huge Smash Bros. Fans. My roommates and I were really into Smash Bros. As well. We would pretty often, there were 4 of us that lived together, so we would pretty often group up. Everyone would be able to pick a computer player, and it would be you and your computer player against everyone else. So really fond memories there. That was also when I first got into amiibos. I currently have around 100 amiibos. That I'll probably talk about those in a later video. What else? So still while I was in college, the Wii U wasn't doing very hot. Very weak sales. It was the weakest hardware available compared to the PS4 and Xbox One, which launched in 2013 and 2014. It wasn't looking good for Nintendo. I had only owned Nintendo games and Nintendo consoles my entire life, and I was probably 20 years old at this point. And I remember being so frustrated about all of these third-party games that were launching on PS4 and Xbox One and not on Wii U specifically, and then pause those feelings for a little bit. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Also, when I was in college, I had one of my roommates, Chris. He wasn't as big of a Nintendo fan as I was. He brought his Xbox 360 with him to college. He didn't get an Xbox One. He had kind of fallen out of console gaming and was mostly on PC gaming at that time. But he had tons of Xbox 360 games. He had like every Assassin's Creed game, which was my introduction to Assassin's Creed. He had a lot of these Splinter Cell games, which I said I was going to play and never did. He had lots of really awesome games. He had pretty much every Halo game, which was also my introduction to, which was mostly my introduction to Halo outside of kind of playing it interstitially at like friends' houses and stuff. It was really cool. It was really cool to have him as a roommate, and he kind of planted an Xbox seed in my mind. That was in college. That was going on right around the same time as this whole Wii U doesn't have any games thing, that like it has really good exclusive games, but like I'm like struggling to find stuff to play. So I started playing some games on his Xbox 360. Fast forward a little bit, and I knew that I wanted to get a different console. I didn't want to necessarily abandon my Wii U. I think I would still use it for like exclusives and stuff, but it wasn't doing it for me. Then one day, kind of out of the blue, I was just kind of Googling around, and I was searching for Xboxes, and I think I Googled like Xbox One cost or something, and the thing that came up was Xbox One S out today. And my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, was working at Target, and I sent her a text and I said, "Hey, do y'all have this new Xbox that came out today?" And she said, "Yes." And I drove to Target and I bought it. Yeah, so I bought a 2 terabyte Xbox One S, and I decided to get an Xbox instead of a PS4, partially because the Xbox One S had just come out, partially because My roommate Chris that I lived with had all of these 360 games, many of which played on the Xbox One, and then also partially just being somewhat familiar with the Xbox ecosystem, and that that's how I ended up buying my Xbox. It was the first non-Nintendo console that I ever owned, and it was also the first console that I ever bought for myself. So I was pretty excited about that too. Fast forward to March of 2017. March of 2017, I've been hearing about this new Zelda game that's supposed to come out. It's launching on the Nintendo Switch. I was still feeling pretty burned at the time about the whole Wii U thing, and I still had my Wii U, so I didn't like the idea of buying this new console just to play this new Zelda game. Breath of the Wild was going to be coming out on Wii U as well, so I couldn't really justify it. So, come launch day, Sarah's at work, she's at Target, I send her a text, I said, "Hey, do you have any Switches?" And she said, "Yes." And I got in my car, I drove to Target, and bought a I bought a Nintendo Switch. I'm very boring, so I got the gray Joy-Con variant, and I also bought the $100 special edition of Breath of the Wild that came with this really cool map and this coin. And I never regretted doing that. I loved Breath of the Wild. I played probably 200 hours of Breath of the Wild from that moment over the next couple months. I had a really great time. And then a little bit later down the line, the Xbox was having the opposite problem that the Wii U had. The Wii U only had exclusives and had no third-party games. The Xbox, outside of your Halo and your Forzas and your Sunset Overdrive, the Xbox only had third-party games, which kind of balanced out. I had some friends online, and then one of my roommates that were really hyping up the PS4, and the PS4 had some really cool exclusives, like The Last of Us Remastered, and they were supposed to get The Last of Us 2 eventually. They also had some cool games like Horizon Zero Dawn was supposed to be really good, which came out right around the same time of Breath of the Wild, and this one wasn't a spur of the moment, but my job that I was working at the time, you would get cash tips at the end of every week. It would be $20 or $30 a week. And so I put all of mine aside for about 12 weeks, and then I drove to Best Buy with a whole bunch of $1 bills and a few $5 bills, and I bought a PS4, a PS4 Slim, and The Last of Us Remastered. The Last of Us Remastered was the first game that I ever played on a PlayStation console, and I really enjoyed it. It had a graphical fidelity and a smoothness and a quality feel that wasn't on some of those third-party Xbox games. But from that point forward, I pretty much have bought every single console that's come out since then. Fast forward down the line, I'm pretty engrossed in all three of these ecosystems, but I try to keep stuff separate. That since I had a whole bunch of Assassin's Creed games on my Xbox, I knew Assassin's Creed games would get bought and played on Xbox. Pretty much any exclusive Switch game, I was picking it up day one and trying it out. And then PS4, was also pretty much just for exclusives. I really enjoyed the Nathan Drake collection, Uncharted 4, Horizon, all of those really well-known PlayStation Studios games. So I was pretty good about making sure that all of my consoles got attention and that none of them just ended up being an old plastic box. That brings us to the current consoles. So I'm still using that same original Switch. 2020, the pandemic happens, and it looks like there have been rumblings for a while about new consoles. The PS4 and Xbox One are like 7 years old at that point, but people are worried that because of the pandemic that they might not come out. And then late in 2020, November of 2020, both the consoles launch. I was able, through Target of all places, I was able to get a PS5 pre-order. A friend of mine that works at GameStop was like, "Hey man, like I was trying to tell you, like we were taking pre-orders for PS5s, but like we sold out instantly." And then I was like, "Oh shoot!" And then right in that moment, I went online and pre-ordered one through Target. And it's the console that I still have to this day. I've still been pretty disciplined about playing stuff on it. I'm looking forward to picking up Ghostwire Tokyo pretty soon. I've been playing Guardians of the Galaxy lately. I'm also going to pick up Horizon Forbidden West. Yeah, so that's PS5, and I've really enjoyed my PS5. A week after those PS5 pre-orders went live, the Xbox Series X pre-orders went live. And I was not super sold on the idea of the Xbox Series X, but my friend that worked at GameStop was like, "Hey man, like these consoles are going to be hard to find probably for like a while. We know that the pre-order day is coming ahead of time. Like we can get you a pre-order, no problem. You just got to show up on the day you just got to show up on time that day." And I said, "All right, let's go ahead and do it." So those two consoles, the PS5 and Xbox Series X, were the first consoles that I ever pre-ordered. So I was enjoying my Series X. I got into Game Pass a lot more. There are lots of cool games on there. Fast forward to November 2021. We moved. We got a new house. I wanted a way to play games in the living room. So I have my game room. So I have this setup right here that has my Xbox One, PS4, and a Switch dock. And then I also have my game room, which has a Switch dock in there, as well as the PS5 and the Series X. But I wanted a way to play games out in the living room. When we were having people over, it could be something as simple as playing like some Jackbox out there. Sometimes it's just nice to have a little like change of scenery. So I was at Best Buy one day, and they had the Xbox Series S in stock. It was the first time I had ever seen a Series X, Series S, or PlayStation 5 on a shelf in a store. And without hesitation, I bought it. That was it. That's how I've come to have consoles in pretty much every room of my house. And that's the state of gaming for me today. Thank you so much for watching this video, taking a little bit of time to learn a little bit about me, about my gaming history. In the comment section below, let me know, what are your earliest consoles that you remember? What have been your favorite consoles so far? What do you have today? All that good stuff. As always, you can keep up with me on Twitter at James_Solar. And until next time, thanks for watching, guys.